I think it's important that people understand that Coyote Hill is not just a place for foster kids. It's not just hey, we're going to take you out of this bad situation, and then when you're 18, we're going to ship you off. It's really of how can we help you get better? How can we help you not have issues later on? And how can we help you be a productive member of society? I definitely wouldn't be the person I am today without Coyote Hill. My mom was having some bad headaches, and they found out that it was terminal brain cancer. Unfortunately, it was about a year later, and she ended up passing away from cancer. My stepdad, he started seeing another woman, and they had gotten married. It definitely felt like two different families. Like, her kids were definitely treated one way, and we were treated another. We had a room downstairs that didn't have any windows, so they would shut them in the room for long periods of time. Anytime that he'd come at me, it would just get physical. But he ended up hitting me, and it was a full-on fight. But I just remember passing out and waking up in the bathroom, and I decided that I was gonna call my aunt and uncle. There was a knock on the door, and the DFS worker and some police officers came in, took us out to Coyote Hill after about a week of emergency placement.
Michael was kind of the protective older brother over his two younger brothers, and he really was the one who had to have the courage to speak up and say, something isn't right here.
Going through the abuse and arriving at Coyote Hill and seeing all the bad things I did, it really, for some reason, it really stuck with me that if your parents can do something this bad to you, then anybody can do something this bad to you. And if your parents don't care about you, then why would these other people care about you?
I remember whenever Michael and Jake and Blake came, we were able to put all three of them in a room. They just needed to know that they were cared for and loved, and that they were safe.
They definitely did things to earn my trust. It was really big for me not to make sure that they were out of my sight. I wanted to make sure I knew everything that was going on, where they were at, what they were doing.
I think that made a big difference for him, feeling like he could go and be successful in school. He could be okay with graduating, and he knew that his brothers were going to be taken care of. And I think there's just a peace there. We were able to have lots of fun with them, able to watch them grow and flourish, and then have to process through their trauma.
While at Coyote Hill, I went through a lot of counseling. I think once a week, a counselor would come in. We also did some horse therapy type things. So it wasn't just like, here's your room, here's a normal, lifestyle. It was, what can we do to help you get better? Even when you say you're not hurting, I know that there's things that you're hurting about, so we're gonna go talk to them, and we're gonna go try to help you through that. They really wanted me to be happy. They really wanted me to be a kid. They really wanted me to put, some of that adult stuff that I was taking care of, to just put it to the side because I didn't have to do it, and they just wanted me to be happy, be a teenager. Going in and living with Amy and Jacob, it was kind of really seeing how good people live. You could look at them and you could tell, how do you treat your husband or wife? How do you treat your kids? How do you go about your life? How do you take care of your responsibilities? I realized that all these people that didn't know me or that barely knew me, took time out of their lives, the energy that they could have put into their own lives, and were trying to help me out. So it made me want to do the same and to help other people too. After I left Coyote Hill, my brothers ended up getting adopted. After a certain amount of time, we're outside working in our yards, and a police car shows up, and they're like, yeah, we were notified that there was abuse going on in your brother's home. And they said, well, they're not going back. Do you have a spot for them? So it went from being like 6 o'clock, hey, you need to come down to the station, to 11:30 being like, hey, your brothers are living with you now.
He was their keeper in foster care when they were younger, but that he even stepped up to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this, because it takes a really strong person to deal with all of that growing up, raising them when, protecting them when they were little, and then to step up without question again. It just showed me more of his integrity and his character, and it just made me love him that much more.
But I think being able to see Amy and Jacob do it, and the way that they handled it, it gave me a really good role model. They talked me through it. And everybody at Coyote Hill, everybody was super supportive, and anything that I needed, they went out of their way to try to help out. That's something they didn't have to do. I really felt like it was one of those situations of like, well, you're not here anymore. We've got all these things to take care of. Our plate's full. And it was not that way at all. It almost made me feel like I was still there. Like they felt like our family was their responsibility to help out with.
His life could have been completely different if he didn't go to Coyote Hill. And I think it gave him some type of hope that said, like, you can have a good life. And they gave him the tools to do that. There's no better feeling on this earth of watching your spouse be the father that you could only prayed that you would have had, that your kids have.
Yeah, my family is my world. I mean, that's what I'm here for. That's what I think about and wake up every day, is how we can better ourselves, how we can have this great life, and what we're going to do to get there.